store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, you need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions.
It's a Friday. Time for Home Repairs and Solutions with Mark and Mary. Brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. And here are your hosts, Mary Pearson and Mark Withers. And good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Dan. How are you?
Wonderful. How you doing? Beautiful
Great.
day.
It is a beautiful day after all of the rain and the racket last night.
We had no lights this morning. The lights went out.
Here at the station or at your house?
We were broadcasting. We got out there, but we had no lights in the studio
Wow.
until about maybe 8:30.
Until me and Mark showed up.
It
That's
just
it.
brightened up.
And all at once everything got bright.
Well,
That's
there we
right.
go. We do our best to make your day happy.
That's what you call broadcasting from the dark side.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. Well, we're not going to do that today.
No,
We like to be on the lighter, happy side.
That's
so.
right. Because, you know, what we always say, every Friday morning, the sun always shines right here at AM 560 KWTO.
It does. It does. So is your phone working? Can people call in or?
Oh, yes, it's working
Okay.
fine. Everything's working fine now.
Okay.
But we just didn't have any lights in the studio for a while.
Okay.
Still could broadcast, went on extra power.
Oh,
But
okay.
we got out there.
Yeah.
Generator.
So there you are. If you're listening out there and want to give us a call, the phone lines are working.
Yep. That's
So you
right.
can give us a call
Yes, you
here.
can.
And you want to give out those numbers, Mark?
I will do it. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. Or you can send us a text message at 417-838-3192.
There you go.
Free call for no
We're
matter
up and
where you
going.
are.
There you go.
We'll talk about whatever you want to.
We will. You know, today we had a guest that was scheduled to come on the show, and, you know, sometimes, you know, life happens, and she had an incident come up that there was a medical emergency, so she was not able to be on the show. So we kind of have our go-to guy on here.
That's right.
We asked Ron Hartman to come back with us. He's been on the show several times, and so sometimes if we find us in a wrinkle, we just call Ron. He's
Ron
kind of like
is-
our third spoke here.
That's right. He is.
Well, it's always good to be back.
There you go. So we can talk about lots of things today. One of the things we thought we'd talk about is what's going on in the housing market, because there are some changes taking place that you might need to be aware of if you're not.
Absolutely. The last 6 months have been a lot more active in the housing market than they have been the previous, 5 years for that matter. Interest rates have started to go back up a little bit. You know, we all knew we couldn't have these low 3%, high 2% interest rates for too long. I think now a 30-year conventional loan is 4.5%, and a 15-year, I think you can still get under 4%. They're still in the high threes.
That's still cheap money
Well, yeah,
for 30 years.
as I'm saying, interest
Yeah.
rates are going up comparatively. So, I mean, there's 4.5% still a very, very good interest rate.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And also, houses are starting to move a little bit more. As Mark, I'm sure, will mention, new construction's really picked up quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Existing home sales have going, and prices are starting to come back a little bit. We're not going to see those huge gains in prices that we did before, but prices are finally starting to head back towards in the right direction for people.
Now, when you say prices are going up, are they going up like 1% or 0.5%? I mean, it's not, you know, if you're out there listening and you think, oh, prices went up, you're not going to get another 10 or 15 or 20%.
Absolutely. That's just, I mean, that to get those sort of gains in the housing market is just not going to happen. Every now and then you'll have a period where they'll go up 10% for a year or two, but then you get a housing bubble like we just went through.
Sure.
I think historically this area, if you look at most 10-year averages, we go up about 3% a year.
3%. Okay.
And
a little more than I
that's-
thought.
That's in a good, steady market. I would still say we're in a recovering market.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be more in that 1 to 2% area, I think, for the rest of this year.
I have a question for you. Do people still do ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages, or do they not do that since the rates are so low now?
That's partly, yeah. They don't really have to do it as much. I've had a few clients do them in the last couple of years just because it was a little bit better rate. Or one of them was through a credit union, and it was sort of an in-house loan through the credit union
see.
with the ARM.
Yeah.
But most of the time, most people will do a conventional or an FHA or a VA type loan. Those are the most simple to do, the easiest to qualify for, and they're the safest ones as far people feel better with that fixed interest rate than they do an adjustable one.
I would say probably if you're looking at doing an adjustable in this market, it would be because your intent is to only stay in that home for, 3 to 5 years or something, not 30.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would even be cautious on telling someone to buy a house if they're only going to be here 3 to 5 years, because that's sort of the break-even point.
Sure.
You won't make any money on the deal. You'll just break even. So you're not really benefiting from owning the home for that short of a period of time.
The only difference is you're not spending money on rent that you will not get any back.
That's true. That's true.
So it depends on, what your particular situation is.
Yeah.
But, I would say if you're going to stay there less than that, then yeah, it probably makes no sense to purchase a home.
I mean, some people
but
just like having to own the home so
they
they
do.
can paint it the colors they want.
They
And if
do.
they don't lose any money, then they can kind of justify it that way, which I don't blame them there. I mean, there's a lot to be said for, the man of your castle, get to do what you want.
Home
in your own
ownership,
sort of thing.
and owning it, the ownership thing.
So that's a big part of it too. But you'll see more of the adjustable stuff, like the 3 and 5 year loans with a lot of investors who do like in-house loans.
Yeah.
They'll do it that way because they can do it for either less money down or the closing costs are less a lot of times with in-house loans. And so you see that, and also if it's something they're planning on flipping, they're not going to own it for very long, then they'll do a short-term loan.
Yeah, and that makes sense in that instance.
Absolutely, yeah.
So are you finding that some of the regulations and stuff are starting to loosen up a little bit? We kind of went through that housing bubble thing, and then they tightened things down so bad that hardly no one could qualify for a loan, but they must be easing up if we're seeing houses move a little quicker.
Well, I'm not being a lender, I'm not too in depth into all the new regulations that come out, but I do try to read a lot of the articles that come out, and they have been saying that lending regulations have gotten a little looser, which I have. It's a double-edged sword for
It
me.
is.
I mean,
It is.
I like having the more business. It's always nice, but you just see it starting. Are we just starting to get back into what we just got out of? I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it shouldn't be easy to get a loan for $100,000 or $150,000. That's a lot of money. You should have a good credit score. You should have a job. You should have a little bit of money of your own down. It ties people to it a little bit better. And I wasn't really complaining that it was hard to get a loan because I think that's the way it should be. But it's the way the market is.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. And I know it's everyone's desire and goal, or for most people, to own their own home, and I get that.
Yep.
We've owned our own homes for many, many, many years. We rented previous to that
Yep.
while Paul was in the service and different things, and that wasn't the most fun way to spend our money. It was the most logical at the time.
Absolutely, yeah.
But home ownership is something that most people want and need. But here's what you don't want is you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you own the home and then you lose it 2 years later. That is so devastating. You're better off trying to maybe rent something that's maybe not your ideal home.
Yeah.
Save some money, put it back so that when you do purchase that home, you have a lot higher rate of being successful as a homeowner.
Absolutely.
And not having to go through all of this other nightmarish stuff that I know can be very frustrating emotionally and everything on people when that happens.
Hopefully the last 5 years with the foreclosures and everything have unfortunately taught some people some tough lessons that they had to learn is exactly what you're just saying. Live within your means, don't overextend when you buy the home. The home you go out buying now, if you're a first-time home buyer going out there, it's probably not going to be the home you're going to be in for the next 40 years. So
Right.
you don't have to buy that nicest one. Buy the one for your needs now.
Right.
That you can afford.
That you can afford, and that it'll be a good buy for you now. Not necessarily when I say good buy, I don't mean it's a big steal of a deal. It's a fair market buy for you, and you stay there for 5 years or so, and then when you're ready to get that next one up, it'll be a easier process.
Sure.
I think one thing a lot of people get caught up in, they look at that payment, that monthly payment. They don't consider everything that goes along with it. They don't consider that real estate taxes will more than likely go up. Your homeowner's insurance may go up. A lot of
Those
things
always go up over
those
time.
always
They
go
never
up
go
over
down.
time.
And if something breaks, you're
Exactly.
responsible.
Exactly.
You don't call a maintenance guy
No.
and
Yeah.
get
No.
it fixed or replaced for free.
It may cost you $600-700 for a new water heater. The HVAC, roof, all those just have a certain lifespan.
Yep.
And a lot of people forget about that, so they may be able to make that $700-800 a month house payment, but they're not putting anything back for repairs or unforeseen things that's going to happen, and then they're in trouble.
Yeah.
So you have to take all that into consideration.
You really, when you buy a home, you really do need to have a little bit of cushion in your bank account for
Sure.
those unexpected things that come up.
Yeah.
One way around those, and I'm not a big believer in home warranties. I didn't buy one when I got my house, but for some people, those home warranties can be a good deal, or at least a good peace of mind, because they'll cover most things with your home, depending on the home warranties. I mean, you want to shop around and make sure you get the right one.
Oh, absolutely.
But what a lot of people don't realize is you can still buy those anytime. You don't have to just buy them when you bought the house.
That is correct, and I think that is a little confusing because I thought that for a long time.
Yep.
Well, if you don't buy it at the time you buy the house, then you're just out of luck.
Yep.
But that's not the case.
Nope.
You can purchase
them anytime.
a home warranty at any point in time
Yep.
after you own the
And
property.
again, for some people, it's if someone will buy the extended warranty on their car when they buy a car, it's basically kind of the same thing what the home warranty is. It's for some people, it gives them that peace of mind knowing that it'll be covered with a small deductible.
But you also need to be, and I would caution people if you're going to do that, then you kind of put control of who gets to come and do repairs
good point.
in
Yes.
the hand of the home warranty people.
Yes.
So you're kind of trusting them to get good quality people out to do the work for you if something does go wrong. And I have seen it happen both ways. I've seen them where they do have good quality people, and I've also
agree.
seen them where they don't, and then you end up with a bigger problem than when
Yeah.
you started.
No, absolutely.
So you have to kind of, you have to go a little bit deeper than just what the home warranty covers. You need to talk to whoever you're getting it from and say, okay, who is your contract? Give me your contractor list.
Yep.
Give me your, you really need to
Right.
get the information so you know who you're dealing with if a situation comes up.
Yeah, that's a
'Cause-
good point.
Yeah, because that can cause a whole nother set of nightmarish issues. So
Absolutely.
anyway, all good stuff.
That's right. Well, it's just stuff that we need to know, and especially folks that are just thinking about buying their first home. They need to think about all these things. And that's where you, me, as realtors come in. We try to, for me anyhow, and I think you're the same way, Ron, it's not just I'm out there just to make the sale and make the money. You're out there to help people.
Well, absolutely.
And that's the whole bottom line. I love helping people.
And it comes down to the point. I mean, most people will buy, maybe 2 or 3 homes out in their whole lifestyle, their lifespan. So it's not a regular thing that they do. So it's a big deal to them. And sometimes as realtors, we do it every day. We kind of forget how important some of these decisions are to people.
Some of the details are, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of when you got to slow down, make sure your clients are understanding everything that's going on, and really make sure that the process is kind of as smooth as you can for them.
Well, and things change over time.
Absolutely.
I mean, buying a house now is completely different than when we bought our first house
Yeah.
in the early 80s. I mean, it's a whole different set of parameters. There's more you have to check and do this and do that and different things. So if you haven't done it before, it can be a kind of an overwhelming process.
Oh, absolutely. When my mom, who I work with, when she was telling me when her and my dad bought the house in Nixon that they currently live in, it was the late 80s. They said the real estate contract was 1 page.
Yes.
They didn't do any inspections, and they moved in after just right after closing.
Right.
A lot simpler. Now our contract is 9 pages. We have a financing addendum that's 2 pages.
Oh, yeah.
We've got a
It's-
5-page disclosure system.
It's insane. Yeah.
It's just inundated with paperwork, and it can be really overwhelming for people that don't do this every day.
Yeah, and that's a point I try to make with folks that are thinking about doing the for sale by owner to save some money. A lot of times they don't realize what they're getting into.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
It's more than just putting a sign in the yard.
exactly it
Well,
is.
and if you don't get that deed and everything properly transferred, that can really cause you an issue later
yeah.
on, too.
You get
So-
title issues on a house. That
Oh,
can
yeah,
mess
it's-
it up for quite a ways down the road trying to get that cleared up. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get yourself into all kinds of not fun situations.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I've had people, they'll say, well, how much do you, charge what and I say, well, the going rate that on a listing is 6% in this area.
But
And
hasn't it been 6% forever? I mean,
a
it
long
doesn't
time.
seem like it's
has
gone
been-
up.
It has been since I've been in. I mean, that's only about 6 years now, but I think that always has been kind of the. there is no standard. It's actually illegal for there to be a standard
Right.
commission rate, but that is somewhat the industry unofficial
Right.
rate that gets used a lot.
Right.
I know a few agents here in town do 7%. Some do it a little bit cheaper. You've got the discount brokerages that'll do it for 3% and a small fee. But yeah, 6% kind of just seems to be what is common to use.
And it seems to me like it's been that for many, many years. It hasn't really gone up, or like everything else has.
Yeah.
So
We get our raise when home prices go up.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
but when they go down,
Yeah,
like they
that hurts
have,
a little bit.
Yeah.
But
then at that yeah, exactly. So it's a fluctuating market, and it's something that it affects you guys. If prices are down, then you make a lot less
well,
money.
In 2007, our average home price that we sold was, I think, I'm not going to remember it exactly, but I think it was around 160,000 for the average. Where the last several years it's been about 110, 120,000. So that's a pretty big change. And
Sure it is.
And on top of that, with it being a slower market, the number of transactions has gotten a little smaller too.
Sure.
Which is starting to thankfully come back up. But I mean, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. That can make a big difference in
Oh yeah.
and you're still working just as hard, if not
yeah.
as hard, especially in a market where things aren't moving
Yeah.
as quickly. Then it's harder and takes longer to get that sale. So
And then it also just kind of shows how I don't think it's so much that we were losing that home prices didn't go down that much so much. It was more of just the lower priced homes always tend to sell more often than the higher priced homes, especially in a lower market.
Right.
are you finding some of the higher price homes are starting to pick up and sell now? Like I would say higher price would be 250 and over.
Yeah, it depends on the market. I think in the area as a whole has really picked up quite a bit. The Springfield, Nixa, Ozark, Republic, and maybe Rogersville and Willard have all kind of made the transition from a buyer's back to a seller's market.
I see.
The kind of number we use to determine that is how much inventory is on market. And for those towns, they have less than 6 months inventory. And the 6 month
really?
figure is kind of the buyer-seller line that we have. And the last couple months, they've had in the 5s and 4s, and some of the districts within Springfield have even been down in the 3s.
Wow.
But, that's a fluctuating thing. But they've been consistently down back below the 6 month line, so they're kind of now in the sellers markets. Some of the more outlying towns that you have, your Highlandvilles and I think Rogersville's not quite in the sellers market yet. They're still a little bit above, but their inventory levels are still way down. And so that's, again, just showing that transition from the buyer's market to prices starting to increase a little bit. The short sales and foreclosures, we're seeing less of them. They're still out there.
Yeah.
But we're seeing less and less of, especially the short sales, which I'm thankful for. 'Cause
I'm
those
sure,
things are
yeah.
a nightmare to deal with. But now that those things are kind of go away, the prices have been able to come back up, or at least they steadied last year, and then this year they've been able to kind of come back up and start rising a little bit. So that's going to help out a lot of people.
Well, I know there's been some folks kind of been sitting on the sideline, kind of waiting to see what was going to happen, because it was so uncertain for quite a while. But I would say that if you're one of those that's just kind of been sitting on the fence and watching, if you're thinking about making a move, you might want to really do some serious consideration right now and get that process started. Because, like Rhonda said, the interest rates are creeping up just a little bit. The prices are creeping up a little bit, but so are the interest rates. So if you're wanting to, I would still say though, probably if you're looking at trading up, you're still in a good
absolutely
position.
And, we're saying the market's getting better and prices are going up. We are still just next to historic lows for what home prices are here, and interest rates. So if you're mad that you didn't buy the house last year when prices were a little bit lower, I mean, we're talking such a minuscule amount that it wouldn't really. If you can still buy now as a buyer, even though it's starting to become a seller's market, you're still getting good prices on home, good interest rates on things. New construction, the one kind of good thing about the last couple of years is it has forced new construction to be a lot more competitive.
Oh, yeah.
With the builders that are still able to be building, they've had to, and Mark, you'll say more to this, but they've been able to get construction costs down considerably
Sure.
from where it was in 2006. And the ones that have survived had to remain competitive, offering
Sure.
the best things for clients. I mean, I know in the last few years, you guys have started putting granite in and high
Sure.
efficiency appliances.
Yeah, in our small houses, and when I say small houses, we're talking, 1,400, 1,450 square foot. We're putting, a lot of hardwoods,
Yep.
tile, granite countertops. We're offering for 135,000, 1,450 square foot,
Four
bedroom,
garages.
three-car
They're
garage.
nice homes, absolutely.
Yeah, they are. They are.
And so the new home, especially on the lower end, is
And
really competitive.
You've
right now.
recently changed that 4-bedroom floor plan where that kitchen's a little bit bigger.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I was in one the other day, and that's a nice house. I
Yeah.
mean, in 2006, that would have been a $160,000 house, and now we're talking it's a $135,000 house.
Yeah, so there's some great values out there, especially on the lower end and on the higher end too. We just had 2 that just sold that we did out Sheila Ridge. The ones that I've talked to or talked about, that we put the new siding type siding
Yeah.
on.
Is that in Republic?
Yeah, in Republic.
Yes, in Republic.
And both of those are sold.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to start 5 more out there. Now they're probably not going to be the great big houses, but from what we're building, anything from 130,000 up to the $200,000, maybe 225. There's some really good values out there.
Yeah. And it's been, I mean, I guess since I've been in the business, I've never seen new construction this competitive with existing home prices.
Well, a point that you brought up there, Ron, was the fact that so many builders fell by the wayside.
Yep.
So,
And
they're-
some of them were good builders, but most
Yeah.
of them needed to go.
yeah, exactly. And so the ones that was left, the ones that smart enough to weather the storm and knew how to maintain, we're still out there doing it. And so we have less competition, but the competition we do have are really good.
Yep.
And so it's really really making it a competitive market and good value.
Yeah, and I think what hurt a lot of those builders that had to get out of business, and there were some that we had such a large inventory of the higher end homes, the $400,000, $500,000, $600,000
Right.
homes, and that we just didn't have a market to support that. And I actually had, I'm not going to name names obviously, but there was a builder that we were trying to convince him, don't build more of those houses, get under the 150,000 mark. That's what's going to be moving the next few years. And he goes, yeah, but the other ones are just more fun to build. And it's like, I don't care if they're more fun
Well,
to build.
yeah,
If you're going to lose
exactly.
money on it, it doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
they are pretty. Everybody likes building that nice, big, beautiful home. But,
Sure.
you got to be able to see where the market's going to trend to. And the builders
That's
that have
right.
stayed around, they switched from those 250s and 300s down to the 130s, even lower than that
Yeah.
for a while. But
Yeah. Well, and here's
Guys, I hate to interrupt. We got to take a break.
Well,
I'm sorry.
doggone.
Dan was telling me we got to take a break here. So hold that thought, and we'll be right back shortly with more
Alrighty.
home repairs and solutions.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. Strong thunderstorms rolled across portions of the Ozarks early this morning. High winds toppled trees. Many trees are reported down in Republic, Nixa, and Ozark. Power lines fell, triggering power outages. Up to 1,300 city utilities customers were blacked out. A Las Vegas murder suspect has been arrested in the Ozarks. Jasper Goddard was stopped for a routine traffic violation at Highway 65 in CC. A check of his license showed he was wanted in Las Vegas for murder and sexual assault. He's being held in the Christian County Jail on $4 million bond. And the Dallas County Sheriff is looking for thieves who made off with 3 transformers from a Southwest Electric co-op substation on Prairie Grove Road near Buffalo. Each is valued at between $500 and $1,000. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
Would you like to know how to become 3 times less likely to experience a home burglary? Mike Melton, president of Security Alarm Now, is here to tell us about that.
Statistics show that you're 3 times less likely to have your home broken into when monitored by a home security system. Right now, we're offering listeners a complete ADT security system free of charge when they call
1-888-258-2716.
You only pay $99 for the installation, and the monitoring is only about $1 a day.
That's really economical, especially when you're talking about the safety of your family. Are there any other offers for our listeners?
Yes, the next 20 people who call
1-888-258-2716.
will receive a free upgraded 2-way voice keypad, which in the event of an emergency allows you to talk to the ADT dispatcher through your keypad, It will also include a $100 Visa gift card.
Call 1-888-258-2716. That's 1-888-258-2716.
It's here. The Big Deals Store is online and waiting for you to shop and buy gift certificates to local businesses. Go to our station website, newstalk560.com, and click on Big Deals. Here you'll find dozens and dozens of gift certificates from places like Any Lab Test Now, Austin's Body Shop, Bill's Farm and Home, and Bruno's Italian Restaurant. You can shop and buy 24 hours a day and save a ton of money in the process. But you better hurry, because the big deals are going fast.
When it comes to your retirement, stop risking your hard-earned money. Brad Pistole, the host of Safe Money Radio, would like to share some safe money investment strategies this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. on KWTO AM 560. He'll talk about guaranteed protection of principal, wealth management, and income solutions. And to get your free Safe Money kit, you can call 866-780-SAFE any day of the week. 866-780-SAFE. Join Brad for Safe Money Radio this Saturday at 10:30 a.m. on KWTO AM 560.
A shower or thunderstorm around Friday morning, otherwise very warm on Friday. Clouds and some sun, high 88. Mostly sunny and less humid, though, as we head into Saturday, high 82. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist John Dukowinski.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And you are listening to Home Repairs and Solutions with Mark and Mary, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air Heating and Air Conditioning, your local Amana dealer. And now, once again, Mary Pearson and Mark Withers on the second half of the show with their guest.
Welcome back.
Good to be back.
It's always good to be back. Thanks for listening to us today. This is Home Repairs and Solutions. We've been talking about houses today in the housing market.
Yeah.
But we can talk about anything you want to.
That's right. We
Just
can.
kind of an open forum. You know, we just,
It is.
the three of us are just sitting here visiting. But if you want to chime in and ask us a question or talk about something you got going on, that's fine. You can do that as well.
That's right.
They did say the phone lines are up and working.
Yeah.
So
I probably ought to give those numbers.
you
now.
probably should, in case we
Yeah.
just had someone tune in. They might want to call.
That's right. 862-9977. 1-800-375-0056, or if you want to send us a text, you can do that at 417-838-3192, and we'll read it on the air.
That's true. I have a question for you.
Yes.
You know, it has been so hot. Thank goodness.
Really?
Yeah. Our phones have been ringing off the wall.
Yeah.
But one of the things I've always heard, and I think I know the answer, but how important is it, or how does it affect the buying or selling of a home if you have a pool? I've heard a pool could really be a liability, and the only reason you should put a pool in is not for resale, but for because you enjoy it yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You could possibly, if you put in a pool, that may add next to zero value to your home.
Okay.
That's our market. Now, if you go to Southern California or Florida,
Then you almost have to have a pool.
yeah, I mean, it's you just have to almost. But like you said, around here, it just if you're doing it to try to make money, you're narrowing your market to only people that also want a pool, and that makes it harder to sell. And then you're trying to ask for more money on that. On top of that, you'll be lucky to. If you break even with it, you're really lucky. But chances are you're putting in a pool just because you want to have a pool and you'll enjoy it.
Does it matter? Now, I know if you put it in ground, that's pretty permanent. But if you have one of these above ground pools, that can be easily removed.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to remove that, then maybe I don't think that would have near the effect of an in ground pool. Maybe it does. I don't know.
No, it doesn't, as long as they remove it and don't just leave that big circle bare spot in the yard.
Okay.
If they'll, re-rake it and regrass it, I mean, you can do that for not horribly expensive.
Right, pretty minimal.
And then you can take the pool with you wherever you're going next time with those. It's a little bit of a chore, but it can be done. A lot cheaper than putting in an in-ground pool.
Oh, sure. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was thinking straight on that, because I was thinking the other day I was out here mowing, and I think I mowed Wednesday night, and I thought, whew,
Pool
If I
would be
had a
nice.
pool,
Yeah.
because it was hot.
I don't think, at least for me personally, I don't think I would ever put a pool in a home. But if I bought a house that happened to have a pool, if it worked out, I would do that. But I don't think I'd ever pay for it just because
Right.
knowing that you can get 20, 30, 40,000 on up with a nice pool depending on how much
Well,
you want.
and here in Missouri, I mean, there's really not that many months out of the year unless it's indoors.
Yeah.
Now, I do know a guy who bought a house in Highlandville not too long ago. He's an investor, and he showed me pictures. It had an indoor pool,
There's a few of them around
which
here.
which was really cool. The flip side of that was they're very expensive because now you have to have dehumidifiers and you have to have.
Whole different ballgame, yeah.
It's a whole different issue. So if it's an inside in-ground pool, that is a huge added operating expense
Yeah,
for the homeowner.
absolutely.
So those are some things that you kind of
know,
have to be aware of as well.
Like you were saying, around here we only got about 4 months.
yeah, it's just
Maybe 5 if
at the most if we're lucky.
Yeah, if you really don't mind it being a little cooler. And for some people, that's worth it. And if it is for you, hey, that's great. But just keep in mind that might be one that you just kind of have to take that financial hit on the chin.
Yeah, you're probably not going to make money off of it. Okay.
Yeah. Me and
Just
Ron,
checking.
me and Ron went and looked at a house one time that had an in-ground pool. You remember that? Over there on, it was like Latoka or one of those, that little foreclosure house that they dug the hole in the ground and put the above-ground pool
Oh,
down
that's
there.
right. Yeah, just right south of Sunshine,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Uh-huh, yeah.
That one was a doozy.
to say the least.
That's
That
all
was
I'll
it. Was that a do-it-yourselfer?
That was a burn it yourselfer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just get rid of that thing.
Just get rid of all
yeah,
of it.
yeah. I just wanted to refresh your memory
Hide
on
the
that one a
evidence.
little bit.
Get rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a dandy.
Yeah, that one was.
Oh, but there's several things that people will do, like the pool, and there's some stuff that they think, I'm going to upgrade my house, I'm going to do this, to do that, and it's going to bring me a lot more money. It may make your house the best one on the block, but it's still going to be worth X amount of money. It's not going to bring you any more money. And a lot of people make that mistake.
You get to a point where if most of the homes in your neighborhood are a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,300 square foot with a 2-car garage, they're only going to be worth so much. I mean, you can go in and put the granite and the hardwoods, but unless everyone else in that neighborhood does that, the value of those homes are going to stay with what most of the homes in the neighborhood
And it's
are
going to
like.
dictate to how much you can
Yeah.
get out of yours.
Now,
yeah.
if you do that, it may sell for a little bit more depending on what things you do to it. Some things do add good value. It just kind of depends on what you do. So you might get a little bit more, but you probably won't get all the money back, and your house will probably sell a little bit quicker if it's more updated like that. But I think we said on the show before, do the improvements to the house because that's what you want, and you'll get that
Right.
enjoyment out of it.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
if you also make a little bit extra money on it, that's even better. But
Yeah.
do it because that's the house that's going to make it more of your home.
Yep, the things you enjoy. Well, I have a question for you, and I don't think I've ever asked you this before, but in all the homes that you build, and like if you're going to, like I think you said you were going to start 12 more or something. If someone comes in the middle of the construction process and maybe wants to do an upgrade of something other than you do, is there some leeway for someone that's buying from you to do that to a certain extent? I mean, I know once you get a certain amount of it built, then you're not going to, start
Right.
moving walls and all that kind of ridiculous thing. But
Right.
but like if someone comes in and says, well, I really want, and I don't know what appliances you put them in, say they want high-end stainless steel or something, is that an option? Can you work with people?
Sure.
Or maybe they don't want tile, they want wood or on the floor or something like that.
Yeah.
Or a certain color of paint or, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. And we do that quite often. We'll get, let's say, to the stage where it's sheetrocked and everything, but not painted, no flooring down. Somebody comes in and looks at it, they really like it. But, yeah, they do. They want hardwoods all the way down the hallway or hardwoods in the whole house and stuff. We'll take and figure up how much of an upgrade that's going to
Okay.
cost. Some of the stuff we can eat, but there's a lot of it that we can't. We have to
Sure.
charge more for the house.
Sure.
But that is definitely an option. One of the small houses over on Hazelnut that we're building for a couple, we based it off of our normal, that plan that you looked at over there, Ron, and liked. I normally put black appliances in them, and they decided they wanted stainless steel. So stainless steel costs us just a little bit more.
It does.
So we put it in, and it wasn't enough to really worry about. A lot of times they'll want to change the paint color. Where you really get into cost with us is if they want a different color in every room. You know.
Oh yeah.
Because then the painter charges us more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's having to take time to clean his equipment, his brushes, and everything. And
He
Well-
can't just go in there and
another
spray it all
color.
one
Yeah.
color.
Right. Well, and then he's using extra rollers and extra
yeah.
drip pans and
Yeah.
extra. So yeah, that makes
So it
sense.
does cost. So we'll normally allow a person usually 2 wall colors in the house. So if they want to paint all the house one color and a couple bedrooms a different color, we'll do that. Another upgrade, we put painted trim and moldings in our house.
Yes.
If you want to upgrade to wood, it costs us more to get that stained
Sure it
and
does.
finished. So there's things like that. But there is a lot of things that that will give you the option on doing. It's not really going to cost you anymore. Light fixtures is one thing that people can really spend a lot of money on.
You can.
In a hurry.
Yeah. So I know what we spend for each house
Right.
on light fixtures. And so I give you the opportunity, do you want the same light fixture packages in this house here, or do you want to go pick out your own? But if you do, this is your budget. You go over that, then it's gonna cost you.
Right.
And you have to remember, that's light bulbs and everything.
Right.
And so
Right. So someone might want a chandelier in their entryway or over their kitchen table as opposed to maybe whatever light fixture you have or whatever. So that's an option they could do.
Right.
They just need to know. Because lighting is one thing. I mean, you can get into lighting for thousands and
Yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah, you could probably spend on one light fixture what you guys budget for a whole
Oh, I'm
house.
sure.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure you
yeah,
could.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
On our small houses over there, I'll spend anywhere from $800 to $1,000 on light fixtures. Hardware is another thing. Door hardware.
Yes.
You can
For kitchen cabinets and stuff and bathrooms.
Well,
and-
yeah, kitchen cabinets and bathrooms, because you don't realize that if you go from a $2 cabinet pull up to a $5 cabinet pull, and you have 100 of them in there, it really
Adds up real quick.
adds
Yes,
up
it
real
does.
quick.
Yeah, it does.
Doorknobs,
Yep.
the doorknobs I use and we don't use the cheapest. We try to upgrade all of our stuff, but one house in particular we built for some folks, and she was just dead set on these certain doorknobs. She went and picked them out, and just for the doorknobs in the house, it was going to be about $8,000. We normally spend
Wow.
about $800
Wow.
for the doorknobs, and it was almost $8,000 for all the hardware and doorknobs.
Now, do you
and
use
stuff.
do you use the round ones or do you use the handle ones?
I use the round ones.
You use the round ones.
Yeah,
Okay.
it will use the levers if somebody wants the levers.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little more convenient, especially for older people.
That's what I was going to say. If you're a little bit
sure.
older, then they're easier than the round ones sometimes.
But
If your
they,
grip is,
they cost a lot more.
they
you know.
do. They do.
So
We have a call, Steve on the cell.
okay, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I went to some of the homes in the HBO show this weekend, and what kind of amazed me is these were upper grade homes, and how few electrical outlets they had in some of the bathrooms and up around the kitchen. Where you have company over and you plug it in. This warmer
Sure.
and that warmer, and then your little Krups coffee maker.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they just don't go ahead and put some fourplexes up, and I just don't think you can have enough in the kitchen up there around the counters, and especially in the bathroom.
I agree, and a lot of it's just cost to the builder. We
what it
got
boils down to,
yeah,
yeah.
we got a custom going right now out in Waldhorst for some folks, and she wanted 8 outlets in the master bathroom. And the electrician looked at her and was like, what? What are you talking about? She's like, yes, I want 8 outlets because I plugged my hairdryer in, plug my curling iron in, blah, 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 And so we did. And, so it's an extra circuit. And, and so the time you do that several times in a house, it adds up. And that's why a lot of these contractors go with the minimum that code requires, in bathrooms and kitchens and stuff. And plus, they have to be on ground fault, so that adds to the cost there. So, but that's a good point.
I go into so many homes, and everybody's got the little triple piggyback stuck in, the kitchen and the walls. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been in a home in a long time that somebody hasn't tripled up on, that one, the dual
One
wall outlet.
Yeah.
And I just think, this is a long time coming that, people just have so much more stuff all these little coffee makers and home brewers and toaster ovens and toasters and hamburger makers and
all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Well, and we plug in cell phones now that we didn't used to, and
more
candles,
gadgets.
and we have a lot more gadgets that need to be charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and I wish these were nicer in homes, and I was like, come on, get with the program. This is what people do. And next time you go into anybody's house, just look and see at their wall and see how many things they've got.
Sure.
The extra what do you call it? The power strip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely
Thank you
right.
much.
Hey, appreciate the call. That is
Thanks,
a good
Steve.
point.
You know what? I agree with him. And if you would come and see my little cabin at the lake when we redid it, let me tell you what, that was one thing Paul was big on, was making sure there's enough outlets, and he put lots in my kitchen and in the garage. And when we were doing that, our neighbors were kind of like, what in the world are you doing things? And I said, just leave him alone.
Yeah.
This is what we like to do.
Sure.
But now, whenever we need to do something in the garage, guess what? Wherever I need to do that at, there's a plug in, and I'm not running 2 extension cords hooked together into, So I agree with Steve. You need to have, and like I plug in my Kindle Fire now. I plug in a cell phone. I plug in my computer. I plug in my internet little thing down there so I can get internet.
Yeah.
So there's 4 outlets just that we
you
didn't
didn't
used
have
to
to have,
do.
yeah.
That we didn't used to do. So yeah, I'm with Steve. You can really, in my opinion, not get too many outlets.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Same way with me right there where I sit and watch TV. I have, not only is the lamp plugged in there, I have my cell phone, I have my Kindle Fire, and I have my laptop.
There you go.
Yep.
All right there. They're all plugged in, so I have to have a power strip. So
Yeah.
Mary, I got a quick question for you, and before we forget and run out of time. Several months ago when I was on, you had some information about new efficiency requirements for furnaces and stuff that were going to go in. If I remember right, that was supposed to take an effect in May, but then it got delayed.
Yeah.
What's the status on that now?
It's a train wreck. Nobody really knows what's going on right now. The
Wait,
last
you mean
that we
a
heard,
government regulating committee is not a train wreck? Or is a train wreck? I'm surprised.
Yeah, unfortunately, in case no one's figured that out yet. No, the last information that we've had on that is that it's in court.
Okay.
And so the EPA and the manufacturers are all fighting in court, and so we really don't know what's going to happen until the court makes some sort of regulation or ruling on it. And what we have been told is that once they make that ruling, then it will probably go into effect like right now.
Gotcha.
So as of today, you can still put in 80% efficient furnaces in Missouri. You can still put in 13 SEER if that's what you want to do. We don't really recommend that for someone who owns a home. A lot of rental properties do that. But if you own your home, you probably want to look at 14 or 16 SEER. First of all, if you're a city utilities client, you get the rebates. On the 13 SEER, you do not. So it makes sense. With the rebate, you end up spending less for a better efficiency.
But just to make sure I'm understanding, the higher the SEER number, the more efficient it is?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And the bigger the rebate.
Okay.
Because you're going to use less utilities. But as of right now, no one knows what the ruling is going to be on that. The EPA tried to go ahead and force the ruling anyway, and the court shut them down and said, wait a minute, we are the court, you are not.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, and so it's just, and I can kind of see from the manufacturing standpoint, like our distributor here, what I was told is they distribute down in Arkansas. Well, Arkansas was under a different regulation than Missouri. So if this goes into effect in Missouri, they will not be able to service their dealers in Arkansas with 80% furnaces because it's not legal for them to have them in Missouri. So it's just, it's a typical thing where it sounds like it's going to be simple, but there's always a lot bigger spider effect to anything than, and I think a lot of things like that happen aren't completely thought through.
Well, yeah, because, especially in Southwest Missouri, we got Kansas, Oklahoma,
Correct.
Arkansas, Missouri. It's not uncommon for a distributor like that to service 3,
Correct.
4 states right
Correct.
there. And
Yep.
that was just something that was obviously overlooked probably when they were thinking it through.
So when they drew the line,
Yep.
and Missouri was under one ruling and Arkansas was on a different one, then that was going to create issues for dealers in Arkansas, for distributors in Missouri, for manufacturers. It just created this huge nightmare mess.
Yeah.
Because then that means the manufacturer would have to have a different distributor in Arkansas in order to. So, it was just a big mess. So right now, everything is just like it was before all this stuff happened.
Okay. I just was curious to see what the fallout of all that was.
Yeah, well, we're still
falling out.
waiting on the rock to hit us on the head. We're not sure what it's going to be, or how big a rock or anything.
Yeah.
So we'll just see. But yeah, if anyone is confused or has questions about that, they can give us a call. Or if you want to put in an 80% furnace, you still have that ability to do that today. I'm going to specify today.
Today, yeah. Tomorrow might be different.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, that's just kind of how that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we actually did put in a furnace for a lady yesterday. Now, you would not think that people would do that in June, but she is proactive. Her furnace was bad at the end of at the end of this winter, and so she wanted to be proactive, and she said she wanted to go ahead and replace it now. That way, she was ready to go, and she doesn't have any worries. So we just did that yesterday. So don't think that just because it's the summertime we can't put in a furnace,
Right?
Because we do. It's kind of rare that we do just a standalone. Usually, it's with a complete system, but we will do a standalone furnace if you know yours was at the end of the whatever, and when we had that snow in May and your furnace wasn't working, then you can call us and we can go ahead and put that in for you anytime. So
It's great.
yeah.
I had something happen to me this week.
What's that?
And
Do
I
we
just
want to know?
Yeah, yeah. This is something people still need to know this and think about this. There are still people out there that is trying to steal air conditioning.
Oh, absolutely.
Units.
Absolutely.
It's happening. We have a little house on the north side of town that we remodeled. Had a carrier system in it, and it was older, but it worked great. Well, I was over there the other day working, doing some stuff. I noticed, boy, it's just not cool in here anymore. So I called the people that we have always used, and sorry, it wasn't Spring Mountain Air. I apologize, Mary, but anyway, I said, hey, this is not working right. He said, well, I'll come over and check it. Well, when I went to out there to get in my truck, I just happened to glance down. Someone had snipped a hole in the refrigerant line, and they was going to let all that refrigerant out
And then come back and steal
come back.
it.
If they come back now, they are going to be caught on security camera because I went to Harbor Freight and bought a little security system that'll take their picture, and there's a sign on the wall that says "Smile, you're on camera."
There you go.
But I just want to warn people:
It
still
is.
watch out for that.
We are
Yeah.
replacing a unit for a client that was on a rental that they're fixing up that was stolen. We're
Yeah.
replacing it either today or next week. But yeah,
So
it's just I don't get it. I don't understand it all.
No.
But I don't know. It's still going on.
yeah.
So-
And nothing started happening till I put the real estate sign out there, and I guess they said, "Oh, it's vacant.
Yep.
Let's try to take this." So
There you go. And then after that, even once they steal that one, they know it's going to be replaced. You got to make sure they don't come
They
back
don't
and
come
steal
back
the
and steal
new one.
Yep.
Exactly.
So it's just, it's frustrating for
Yep.
everyone out there that's having to deal
Yep.
with this. But
Yep, that's
anyway.
for sure. Ron, give out your numbers before time gets away from us.
Okay, I'll try to do that real quick. Again, my name's Ron Hartman. It's always a pleasure to be on here with the Hartman Group at RE/MAX. My number is 766-3559. Just give me a call if you have any questions. Or you can go to my website, thehartmangrouprealestate.com.
It's always a pleasure to have you on.
It
It's always
is.
fun.
Thanks
Yeah.
for filling
Yeah.
in for us on a short notice. And
Glad I could help out.
I think I'll give out Spring Mountain Air's
I
number
think that's a
just
good
in
idea.
case someone's
That's
having an
right.
issue.
Yeah.
Our number is 417-831-4036. So you can give us a call with any of your heating and air conditioning questions or needs. Hopefully no one steals your air conditioner.
Hope not.
It's going to cool down a little bit, so
Yeah.
we're going to have a little bit of break
Yep.
here. But if something comes up, give us a call. We're happy
Yep.
to help. Or if you want to hear about someone or a phone number of someone's been on the air, we get those calls at the office. We had a call. Someone wanted the Renew Crew number this week, so
There you go.
we're happy to do that
Yeah.
for you as well.
Yeah. Hey, I'd like to invite everybody to come down to the Findlay River Park in Ozark tonight for the big Saratoga Duck Race. We're going to be playing some bluegrass down there from 5:30 to 7. I'll be playing with Redbridge. Next weekend's the big Starvey Creek down at Conway, Missouri.
And
so
you're not gonna be
I won't be
here.
here Friday, but I'd like to invite everybody to come down there tonight and for a good cause and hear some good music. So.
Sounds great. Well, have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Yep, that's right. This is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.